Hey there, sports fans. Mike Crook coming at you for episode 30 of Laces Out. In this holiday edition, we're going to be going over the state of affairs in Tallahassee, updates on our fantasy football, NCAA pick'ems, NFL pick'ems, and how we think things are going to pan out in our top 3 picks for the ACC and Big 12 football games this week for our Rivalry Week edition. So stay tuned. Alright, so first things first, this is really going to be a very shortened episode just because it's a holiday edition. We're recording this and have a very short window for editing to get this out scheduled for Thursday on Thanksgiving. But we really wanted to have a small soapbox opportunity to discuss the state of affairs in Tallahassee. So it's no secret, I've been a big supporter of head coach Mike Norvell since day one. And I knew his first season was going to be a tough one because COVID was taking center stage in the sports world. But once we started to distance ourselves from that and got back to normal practices, games, etc., I was hoping to see the Mike Norvell magic that they talked about with his time at Memphis was going to take off. And we did have 2 really great back-to-back seasons, going 23-3 over that stretch before getting that playoff snub. But since that demoralizing loss to Georgia, this team has ripped off just a mere 7 wins over the last 2 seasons. Flat out, Mike looks lost on the sidelines when things go south. His post-game pressers seem to be cookie cutters on knowing he screwed up and pledges to change things and do things better next week. Yet that never seems to happen. Now, some of this is due to poor play calling, poor coaching on getting these guys prepped for the game, or even just adjustments during the game. And that's not just adjusting the play calls and schemes, but also pulling guys out of the lineup when their heads are just not in the game and they're not focusing. Now, I was honestly hoping after the loss to NC State last Friday that I'd wake up Saturday morning to hear that Odell was going to be the interim head coach for the Florida game. That did not happen. The university stated that Mike will be back next year for the 2026 season, which means our bowl season rides on a road trip to 3-8 Florida, who's actually favored in this game. So we'll let you know who we pick later on in the episode. Now, I know that Norvell has pledged to fix things in the offseason that has plagued this team for the last 2 years. But only time will tell if that actually is true when the product's put on the field next fall. But do you think this decision to retain him was merely because we can't afford the price tag to buy out his contract? Leave your comments below on what you think of this decision by the university, and if we have another repeat year, do you think that he's still going to be the head coach going into 2027? All right, flipping over to fantasy football, I had a bounce back week over my wife, and now I'm just 1 win away from securing the number 1 seed in the league heading into the playoffs. Only Talon and I have currently locked up our playoff spots, with the other 2 spots going to teams that are all within 1 game of each other in the standings. Now, the last 2 weeks are definitely going to be a dogfight for those 2 spots. Who's it going to be? I must admit, I love the drama, especially when I'm not involved in the drama. Flipping things over to our pick'ems. My NCAA picks definitely took a step backward llast week as I went 4-6, but do still hold an 80-point advantage over Trey in the standings. My pro picks, however, did also slip as I only posted a 10-4 record last weekend, which isn't terrible, but 2 games slide from that 13-2 I had the week prior. And I do still hold a 70-point advantage in the standings on this one over Trey, so I would be very thankful for a perfect weekend this weekend. Pun intended. All right, let's wrap things up with our top 3 games in the ACC and Big 12 this weekend. First up, our record from last weekend. Terrible. Overall, we went 3-3 on the weekend. We went 2-1 in the Big 12, 1-2 in the ACC. Yeah, our picks were not that great, and we're now sitting at 31-35 on the season, 4 games under 500. We damn near need a perfect weekend this weekend to hit or exceed 500 because, let's be real, 2 of these picks I'm not that keen on, but I'm going with it anyway just because I want to go out on a high note with 2 of these teams. But let's lead off with the Big 12. First up, 8-3 Arizona traveling to number 25 Arizona State. The Sun Devils are coming off of a 4th quarter beatdown over the Buffs last weekend on the road. Now they get to host their in-state rival, the Arizona Wildcats. And this is actually predicted to be a pretty close game, but I'm actually leaning towards the Wildcats in this one. Give me Arizona by 3 points or less on this one. It's going to be a nail-biter, possibly an overtime game. Both teams are very keen on looking to position themselves for a very nice bowl bid this season. Next up, 7-4 Cincinnati travels to 7-4 TCU to close out the season. Not the hugest rivalry game on rivalry week, but it still seemed like a pretty fun matchup. So we're actually going to go with the home team on this one. Give us the Horned Frogs, 7 points or less, probably closer to 4 points, honestly. But 7 points or less on this one. Horned Frogs close out the season with a nice win and hopefully get a really nice bowl bid to go along with it. Lastly, of course we had to go with CU because it's the team that we back from the Big 12. And yes, they're on a really nasty slide right now, sitting at 3-8, traveling to Kansas State, who's sitting at 5-6 on the year. And Kansas State had a hell of an offensive production last week. It's really scary to think how bad this game could get, because I believe that K-State's actually favored by double digits, maybe 10-14, depending on which spread you're looking at. But something tells me that even though Juju's not starting this one, I did see a notification earlier today that Juju will sit in order to retain his red shirt status. I still didn't see who we're actually starting in this one, but my guess is Salter. Something tells me Salter's going to be the starter in this one. If that's the case, I still want to go with my pick. CU in this one by 3 points, upsetting K-State at home to close out the season at 4-8. So go Buffs. Praying for you. Fingers crossed. All the good vibes. Come home with a win, man. Next up, the ACC with a lot of fun rivalries going on this weekend. First up, Friday night contest. Number 4 Georgia taking their 10-1 record on the road to number 16 Georgia Tech, who has suffered a very humbling loss, we should say, to Pitt last week. And while Georgia Tech's season is done for the ACC, they are trying to lock up that ACC championship bid. This one is just for bragging rights. But I don't think the Yellow Jackets have it in them to beat Georgia on this one. Georgia's looking for bigger and better things, and I fully see UGA coming out of this one with a 10-point or more dub. It's not going to be pretty. Something tells me third quarter, Georgia's going to find a way to put the beat down on the Yellow Jackets and roll with this one. Possibly 3 touchdowns or more. Wouldn't that suck? But yeah, Georgia in this one. Next up, number 13 Miami takes their 9-2 record on the road to 8-3 Pitt. Pitt had a nice win against Georgia Tech last weekend. Something tells me this is going to be a letdown game against the Canes. Miami is still trying to vie for an outside shot at an ACC championship appearance. I don't think that's going to happen. Even with a win today, I don't think that's going to happen. Something tells me 2 other teams are going to be in the mix, but still, Miami wants to give themselves every possible chance to make that appearance. So give me Miami in this one, 7 points or more, taking care of Pitt, and then fingers crossed they get to watch and see how the rest of the ACC slate pans out for the rest of the weekend. Last up, Florida State and Florida. This game means nothing to nobody. Well, it does mean something to Florida State because with a win, they are technically bowl eligible. And they're going up against a very depleted Florida team sitting at 3-8, who's already lost their head coach. Surprised this isn't the battle of the 2 unemployed coaches, honestly, but it is what it is. And I don't know. Even though Florida State has had a lot of struggles in last week's game against NC State, just weird flukes, like anything that could go wrong did go wrong. The punts especially, that was crazy. I'm hoping that with the renewed resurgence that Mike Norvell will be here next year, these players just want to get up for him and send it out on a high note with a possible bowl bid on the line and play their hearts out because we haven't won a road game in 2 years. So for the love of God, Florida State, play smart football, keep everything in check, keep the ball in front of you at all times, hands on the ball if you're trying to get an interception. Oh, just so many things. Anyway, long rant to say Florida State in this one, 7 points or less, close-ass game. This is going to be such a close game, but we need the win. Seminole Nation needs this win, so let's get it, boys. Let's get it. There you have it. Episode 30 Laces Out is officially in the books. I'd like to take this time to wish everyone that celebrates it a very happy and healthy and safe Thanksgiving this year. We're going to try and have this thing edited tomorrow and posted sometime Thursday morning. So fingers crossed. I will check to make sure that getting this thing rendered, that all looks crisp, not like the video that I pre-recorded for our trip to New York. So if you like the content, like the video, subscribe to the channel as we say every week. We greatly appreciate all the love and support, and we look forward to seeing you back here again next week for another episode of Laces Out.